everybody, Doug Mystic Eye here. Just getting ready to do the turn 8. I think it's turn 8. Yeah, turn 8 of Darkest Night. Having a good old time. Yeah, I kind of made a mistake last time. I want to cover that. Not a rules mistake, but just what I should have done mistake. I moved the Druid to the monastery, thinking I needed to heal his grace, and I do. He's a little low on grace, but what I really want to do is beef up his secrecy because he was at a 1 when he headed that way. There he is. Problem is that for him to gain any grace here, he's got to deactivate his wolf form. So since and it was impacting because the fact he was at the monastery meant that the Necromancer couldn't see him, but in addition, he wouldn't have gone there anyway because they can't be seen. Well, if he wasn't in the monastery, it would have gone toward him. So I have to take that into consideration. I really can't change what I did there, unfortunately. But with that said, let's get started with our friend the Druid and take his first turn. So here we are, turn 8, Druid's action. He is at the monastery, but he can't heal grace without deactivating. It would take 2 turns for him to start getting some grace out of there. So what he is going to do is move up to the mountains, and that there is going to be his total action, but it will give him another secrecy. So he's getting back up there again. Hopefully the Necromancer won't roll well, the Necromancer can't get directly to him this turn, so we're okay there. And that will be the entirety of his turn. Now we move on to his Of course, I start off not drawing an event card again. So before we actually move the Druid, we're going to have to draw an event card. Let's see what that is. Renewal. Reshuffle the deck and draw another card. Okay, I'm going to have to put my camera down to do that. So just one moment. I'll be right back. Okay, well, keep in mind as I draw this event, I just reshuffled. It would have been it would have been at the monastery. But anyway, here's what I drew. Add a time marker to a quest currently in play. Well, there isn't one. If there is no quest in play, then instead draw a quest and roll a 1 to determine its location. Now when we say roll a die to determine location, I'll show you how it works. So we're finally getting our first quest out. And the first quest we drew is Without a Trace. And it says, something is stealing children from the local populace without leaving any witnesses. Track it to its lair, and you will lose the sympathy of the townsfolk. Okay, so we're going to look at that first, but right now we're going to roll to see where it starts. And what you do there is you take, I'll use the Necromancer's die, you roll based off the center point of the village. So he's going to move to a 4, which means that this quest is up here at the castle. It's not bad because we got our Wayfarer there. And he can take an action to elude versus a 6. Each success gains him a success marker on this, and he can elude pretty well, and if he gets it an epiphany, which I will explain to you if we happen to get one or when we happen to get that one. But he's definitely going to go for that. So that was the event for our Druid, who now is actually in the mountains doing his thing. So that's going to officially end his turn. Then we're going to move on to the Scholar. Okay, everybody, so first thing we have to do with the Scholar here is draw his event card for the turn. I'm going to clean this up here, make sure all the cards are out of the way. And to do so, we're going to say that, okay, he got this, his event card was Scouts. We compare that to his secrecy. His secrecy is 4. So as you can see, that means he's going to face some archers. Now, he's not particularly good at anything, but he can elude. Unfortunately, the space he's in is going to make it a little more difficult. So he's only going to get 1 die to elude these guys. He rolled a 6, so he did elude the servants, and that will end the Scholar's event. Scholar. He's up here with the Necromancer in the forest. He's got 2 blights. One makes his search difficulty less, and one makes it harder for him to elude. He doesn't really want to go to the village because he's not a very good fighter. And his grace is down to a 2. Now, it is going to benefit him to move to the monastery, because the next turn he'll be able to pray and recharge his power. So, and the Necromancer finally will not be able to follow him somewhere. So he's going to make his move up to the monastery, which will increase his secrecy to 4 from 3, and that's going to end his turn. On to the monk. So the first thing we have to do with the monk here is draw an event card. Now I have to tell you, I recorded this, and right after I finished recording the monk's piece, I realized I did not draw his event card. So actually this came after, which is so typical of me. But I put a big banner up that says, "Don't forget event cards." Anyway, got another horde card. There must be a bunch of these in the deck. Anyway, we compare his secrecy. His secrecy is 4, so hopefully this doesn't change anything because it's going to impact the rest of the game. He does get to elude with 2 dice, and the location he was at when he drew the card does not affect his ability, his tactic to elude it with 2 dice. He rolled a, wherever it is, where's my dice? There we go, 5, and that based on that will, yes, it's a 3 to elude. So he did elude that, thankfully, so it didn't change our game too dramatically. But I did have to insert this just to remember to get the event cards out of the way. Thanks, and we'll keep going with the monk's turn. Too badly. He's a little hurt. He's got 2 grace right now, as you can see up there. Make sure it's clear. But he's got a secrecy of 4, and if he moves, he'll get a 5. He will, however, if he moves, depending on where he moves, may have to fight. I'm thinking, though, I don't want too many blights to get on the board, and I believe the Wayfarer is going to try for that quest. So I think we need to do something here. That I think what we're going to do is the monk is going to move to down here to the ruins. You see, there's corruption and dark fog. Well, he doesn't get any bonuses, but he does get to use his tactic. Now, since we're here on an odd number on the darkness track, he'll get 3 dice to fight and kill one of those blights. So right now for moving, his secrecy goes up to a 5, but he's probably going to lose 1 because he's going to take one of these blights out. And I think he's going to take the dark fog out, which is a 5. He's going to have 3 dice. He cannot activate his cheat tactic, but let's just see how lucky he gets. Yeah, he did not succeed. Where's 4, 2, and 2, so he failed at that, and that's just going to leave him there with those 2 blights to contend with. Yeah, and he does lose a secrecy back down to 4 from making the attempt. He might draw the ire of the Necromancer, and that will end our monk's turn. Well, you know what? You know what? I take that back. I'm not going to do that yet. We need to destroy these. I need to search their next turn. So he's going to use his bottle. He'll get something else later. That's going to give him an additional 3 dice, right? Is that correct? Let me check the rules on that. I believe it is an additional 3 dice. Okay. So he didn't succeed, but maybe on this one he will. And then, of course, he succeeds on every single die. So the dark fog was defeated. It cost him, though, to do that. It cost him a pretty good item, which he may have to go back and get another one of later if he can. Anyway, we're going to remove the dark fog from the table, and I'm trying to see where I have the dark fog counters. They might all be out. Okay, well, I'll just put this down here. It's okay. All right, now we're going to end the monk's turn there. Pretty successful turn for him then. Cost him, though. And then we're going to move on to the Wayfarer. Our Wayfarer, he is up here with this quest without a trace, where something is taking children from the castle, and no witnesses have seen where that's happening. So for his action, he's going to elude versus the 6 here, and for each one he gets a token against the quest. Hopefully he'll be able to do something good here, because he has his in the wind tactic, which allows him to elude with 3 dice, as long as there are no other heroes here. So he's going to get 3 dice. This is awesome for him. Let's see how well he does. He only needs to get 2 6s is a lot. Yeah, he got 1 6 on that roll. I'm going to knock the darkness track over. Anyway, there we go. So he got 1. That's going to, I'm going to stop there because I need to put 1 marker on there, and that's going to be his turn. So of course, I completely forgot to draw the event for our Wayfarer, so I'm going to do that now. He's going to be facing a horde, which we compare his secrecy of Wow, of 6. And so he's going to be facing a small horde. He's going to evade that because he's by himself and he's got his tactics in the wind. Let's see if he can succeed. And he does. So, where's my dice? Okay. Somewhere right here are my dice. Let's see. There they are. 6, 5, 1, 3. There. 6, 5, 3. So that's going to mean that he evaded the horde. Wherever I put the card, I'm just a mess today. Okay, there it is. And now I'm going to continue on with the end of his turn. So, our Wayfarer snuck about the castle, finding clues to whoever's taking the children. He's one step closer to completing this. We cannot let it expire because we can't have all our heroes lose secrecy as the townsfolk lose hope in us and point us out to the Necromancer. But we're not going to. He's going to stay there next turn and do the exact same thing. Hopefully, and the Necromancer's far enough away, he's not going to get to him this turn and lay another blight down. So that will end the Wayfarer's turn, and that also then ends the player's turn, and we're going to move on to the Necromancer for turn 8. Here we are, turn 8. The first thing we have to do is move the darkness track up 1, and then we have to roll for our Necromancer. He rolled a 6. I think he's going to spot somebody this time. Who's closest? So it's going to be the monk. So because the Druid is up here and he would be spotted. Basically, he spotted everybody. The Wayfarer's up there. I think the Wayfarer is the only one that. No, he still has a 6, so he would not have been spotted. However, our monk has a 4. So the Necromancer is going to go after. He knows that the monk is taking out his evil plans and corruptions in the ruins, and he's going to go get him. So we're going to address that. So even though the Necromancer couldn't, he knew that the monk was over there in the ruins. When he got there, he couldn't quite track him down because the monk still has a positive secrecy. So all that if his secrecy was 0, the Necromancer would directly attack the monk. But as it stands, he's just going to lay a blight down where the monk is, and hopefully that'll deter the monk. So we're going to draw a map card for that. And remember, he's in the ruins. So in the ruins, we're going to draw another unholy aura. Man, those things are coming out like out of the woodwork, huh? So let me find an unholy aura in my stuff, and I will put it down on the board. Just one moment. Here's the unholy aura, and as you know, don't want to flip that relic. The unholy aura makes -1 to fighting. So this is a bad turn for him to fight because it's an even turn, which means his clarity or patience ability is not going to help him, and it requires a 4 to defeat it, and he does damage if he doesn't defeat it. But we got only 2 corruptions there. He's probably just going to move on. So anyway, that's going to end turn 8 for the Necromancer, and we'll see you next time when we come to turn 9.